Listo, listo, listo. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Yo soy Salguero el Cangrejo, dándole la bienvenida a nuestro segundo live desde Guatemala para el mundo. Y esto no es solo historia, sino también un seguimiento a todos nuestros torneos, a todo lo que hacemos en Guatemala, a cómo vemos en el mundo nosotros, a todos los demás y lo importante que es para nosotros la leyenda de los 5 anillos. Así que bienvenido, invitado especial. Tengo a Julio, el Shadowland. Así que bienvenido, Julio. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the channel. And we are going to talk about Legend of the Five Rings, this special game that is very dear and important to us all.
Y vamos a tener también de invitado especial a Filipinas, que en un momento se une porque ahorita está cenando. ¡Ay! Bueno, ¿qué vamos a hablar el día de hoy o qué platicaremos? Hoy vamos a hablar, Julio, vamos a hablar de cartas relevantes en el juego. Vamos a hablar del ambiente. Vamos a hablar mucho de lo que se está jugando en Guatemala, los decks más fuertes, los más poderosos, los decks que marcan una relevancia.
Sí, mira, es bien interesante cómo se manejan los entornos locales, cada quien cómo juega con sus grupos de amigos y todo, porque se da uno cuenta de qué cartas son las que utilizan en ese entorno y cómo es que se va produciéndose esa como amalgama y estrategias que se van haciendo conforme a esas cartas. Y cuando alguien hace algo distinto, pues crea una irrupción. Buenas noches, DJ Crack madridista. Buenas noches. Saludos, Crack.
Buenas noches, DJ Crack. Vamos a ver de dónde es DJ Crack, que nos diga de dónde es.
Yo me apuesto que es de España.
Vamos a ver, porque tenemos ahí, vamos a ver a quién más tenemos por ahí. Pero bueno, no importa ahora. Bueno, vamos a empezar si querés, Julio. Vamos a ver. Otra cosa bien importante, que sepan todos, que vamos a regresar con el canal con mejores efectos. Vamos con mejores efectos, vamos a tener nuevas historias. Bueno, tal vez no nuevas historias, sino vamos a tener básicamente parte de lo que sucedió en la era dorada de L5R. O sea, vamos a tratar la manera de contarle a todo aquel que no sepa o que no sabe de L5LR, que no sabe la leyenda de los 5 anillos, cómo es que se juega el juego, pero en sí que sepan la historia, porque tú no dejarás mentir de que parte de lo que hizo este juego fueron los jugadores que lo jugaron en su momento y que fueron cambiando o creando la historia.
Sí, creo que ese es un aspecto fundamental del juego, en el que poder involucrarse uno en su momento, que los jugadores que ganaban torneos, ellos decidir cuál era los hechos que se iban a acontecer dentro del imperio, y que realmente eso es algo que es totalmente innovador en ningún otro lugar. En ningún otro juego pues lo he podido experimentar. Y sí, queremos hablar más acerca del lore y también acerca del canon de la historia para que nos vayamos familiarizando más con este mundo que es totalmente fantástico. Se van uniendo más.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Le damos la bienvenida a Javier, el famoso Fénix, antes antiguo ex León. Por cierto que por él es el que estoy en este juego. Y un saludo ahí a Quique, que también se une con nosotros a participar en este en vivo y a pasarla bien aquí, platicar un poquito de nuestro juego maravilloso.
Creo que el audio de ellos todavía no funciona.
Saludos para todos.
Saludos. ¿Sí? ¿Tienen audio, chicos? Vamos a ver.
Creo que Quique sí, Javier creo que no. No, Javier, creo que ahorita
Javier
no está
creo
conectado.
que salió. No, pero Quique no le activa el.
Es que va
Lo
manejando.
tenés en mute. Vamos a ver, ahí está.
Es que voy manejando, entonces lo pongo en mute para mientras.
Ah, súper. Ahí no te preocupes. Ahí vamos a continuar. Pues ya ahorita empezando de que mañana vamos a tener nuestro torneo de Samurai.
Listo, Quiquito. Bueno, pues vamos a entrar. Ajá.
Sí, preparándonos que mañana vamos a tener nuestro torneo de Samurai. Entonces vamos a tener una colección bastante interesante de clanes con los que vamos a participar. Ahí estamos haciendo un recuento de que iban a ser alrededor de unos 18 jugadores y que está dividido bastante interesante qué tipos de clanes son los que van a estar representados. Ahí creo que tenías una lista, ¿verdad, Salguero?
Sí, tenemos una lista de los que van a jugar y si gustas te la dicto hoy. Vamos a ver.
Super.
Los jugadores, en total van 17 jugadores. Yo creo que en los coteis normalmente eran menos en Guatemala, pero ahora creo que vemos muchos más jugadores que antes.
Bueno, fíjate que creo que de algunos
tenemos
coteis...
3 cranes, 2 spider, 2 león, 4 mantis, 4 crab, un fénix, un shadowland y un escorpión.
Sí, nos hace falta una representación de ciertos clanes. Ahí dragón, unicornio. Creo que estoy olvidando alguno ahorita, sí, a bote pronto.
Pero van a ir 3 leones.
Sí, falta dragón, unicornio, pero sí tenemos jugadores, pero no van a participar en este torneo.
Sí, en este justamente. Y vamos entonces a ver de que se van a enfrentar en este arco, pues clanes que son bastante poderosos.
Entonces, bueno, vamos a... En el torneo anterior... Dale, te escucho.
Ah, buenísimo. Sí, es que iba a comentar de que vamos a ver una tendencia ahorita de ciertos clanes que van a estar representados y que realmente son bastante poderosos en el arco. Nos estamos dando cuenta de que el torneo anterior justamente lo dominaron los Crab, el campeón que quedó de ese torneo, y la final fue Crab versus Crab, y que en este nuevo torneo que vamos a tener de Samurai, pues vamos a tener la participación de los Crane, que van a tratar de balancear esa dominancia de los Crab, y los Mantis ahí que se van a intentar colar también, ¿verdad? Y veremos
la verdad que, vamos a ver, Crab no es tanto que haya dominado, pero sí creo que tampoco hubo mucho Crane tampoco jugando.
Sí, es que realmente hay clanes con los que uno sobresale mejor y otros con los que se le dan a uno peor. Entonces creo que ahorita el tener más variedad de clanes, ese abanico nos va a permitir tener encuentros más de una amplitud más grande en el uso de cartas. Y a ver si algún clan nos da la sorpresa, pues quien quita un escorpión o un fénix ahí es el nuevo campeón de este arco. O un Shadowland.
No, la verdad que fíjate que el último torneo yo creo que los Mantis estuvieron a punto de llevárselo.
Sí, es que justamente eso era algo que hemos platicado entre nosotros luego de la conclusión de ese torneo, de que en Lotus previamente Mantis estaba bastante overpowered en ese sentido. Ahí nos está informando Colat Information Network que Crab era realmente bueno en el arco de Samurai. Yes, that is correct. Their personalities were very strong and were very hard to kill. Therefore, it was not really difficult to crack, but we are going to try tomorrow to do so. I was saying that maybe the Crane and the Mantis have the biggest chance to win this tournament because they are perhaps the better opponents for the Crabs in this arc.
Yeah, the crabs. I remember we win because I went that tournament. But I play with the hero, the theme of the heroes, and part of the philosophy of that deck is was it to defense and make a good attack with cards, good reactions. Maybe we're going to see in the live, but that's what we try to do. We make a balanced army and try to make a good defense with everyone. The Lions wasn't so fast. Mantis attacked so fast. So try to make a good defense. So I can make a good attacks.
Yes, I remember that clan. It was very hard to kill the personalities, and also the heroes also had the abilities to sometimes, if they were bowed, to become unbowed, or or sometimes it was very difficult to play against because you cannot kill them, you cannot bow them, and sometimes if they play on certain terrains, you cannot move between battles. So you cannot kill them, you cannot bow them, you cannot move them. You only can remove them from the game and play that you have the cards specifically for them.
Yeah.
Yes, Daisu is a great example of this because if he evens a great combo with him is if he
Yeah,
gets
I remember well when is
go please. Sorry.
I remember with Daisu, I support one battle and I win and I win the battle and I win the game because of them.
Yes, impressive combo with him is using the sword of the clan. I don't remember how it is called in this arc, but it is going to have a minimum of 5 of chi always. So you can always use the ability of getting him minus 2 chi permanently, but with the sword attached, that penalty will never occur. So you can constantly be using that combo and no one will die. So it is going to be very hard to defeat the crabs in this tournament. Perhaps the best chance it is really the mantis if they play
We're
a
gonna see more cards and we maybe personalities to make me win that battle. Hira Kaoru because always she dies, make a sacrifice with her, but she have the ability to come back to the game if she is dead.
Yes, she's very annoying. She's one of the first that you have to kill and try to remove from the game because she will constantly came back from the dead, and it's going to be a really hard fight against her. Another one that is very hard is Sosen because you only can kill them with limited amount of cards. Hida Sosen is, to me, is the best of this arc for crab. I think you are going to put it. And you can see the stats of this card because it has 5 force, 2 chi. It is Samurai Hero experience. It almost go in every deck. If you play Berserkers, she can also go in there. Of course, if you play Heroes and the Shouts,
Sosen, we're going to see more personalities. I use this Hida Otoya was make me a beautiful match.
He's a more support card, I think. He's very good, of course, because he's very powerful, but I think he's more support. Sosen, you can make him the backbone of the deck or the angular stone in a certain moment, and it's going to be a very tough decision how to kill it. In my case, I only can kill it with Kyoso no Oni experience 3, I think. That's the only way I can kill that guy. So I hope I don't find him tomorrow. Colat says he played Crane, Scout military. He had a good record in the Cote in Cincinnati. Yes. It is a surprise because I think in this arc, Crane
he
is
is in the deck.
The most military.
He's a great warrior.
I think that Crane in this arc is a surprise. They can be very hard balance on the military side because they have a lot of scouts and they can attack and move in certain ways, and that makes them very hard to catch. And also, if Kikase appears, it's almost a game over because he will always return the cards into battle and on both. That's the key to me to build that deck is to first kill Kikase and then occupy of everyone else. But you first have to take Kikase out, and hopefully the other guy doesn't have crew trap or something like that. That will also be very hard to counter. Yes. They also have a commander in there that his ability is to counter attack after you lost a province. So, see, yes, of course, there is. If you're the defender, target one or more of your personalities, straighten them, move them to a core battlefield, and you may take an additional battle action.
It's really strong and fuck.
It's also very cheap because that deck is also very cheap. I think that most of the cranes cost 7 or 8 maximum, and with the economy of the crane, that's a joke. Really, that's a joke. Even some of them cost 5. And
he take auto battle action. Is so much for crane. Come on.
But at least they have to stay in battle this time. Because in Lotus, it was overly an abuse. They never stay in battle. Well, only with Harriers, but all the other variants, you never face them in battle. Now you can. So there is a chance. Maybe 50-50. And this deck also gets a lot of support from the followers. Because some of the crane, they have a pretty decent force. Yes.
but see 10,000
the cost, yeah, the gold cost is only 10. Yes, they only have to pay 8 without honor because
the economy is really disgusting. Look this guy. Look this guy. Exists a guy when he in play, we found a holding. Come on.
Yes, I think that is a courtier that when she enters place, you bring a holding and reduces the cost of 2. That was in Lotus. I think that now in Samurai they have to pay the gold.
I really want to find him.
There is another interesting personality there. There is Genpachi. He, as an engaged action, he copies the force of an opposing personality. And not only that, but he gives that force to another personality in his army. So, for example, if I am attacking with Sentei no Oni, that is a 16 force, Genpachi and another personality will copy that force from my Oni. Not fair. Really not fair. There is our friend that is going to join from Philippines. You have to add it to the backstage. Salger.
Hello.
Hello.
We're going to welcome to from Filipinas. Filipinas, come on. Peter Paul.
Hello.
Come on. Welcome, Peter Paul.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for being late. Thank you. Sorry for being late. Just had to cook something. So please go on. I think you're doing Crane, my clan.
It's good to have you here. Yeah, I hope the
Yes,
dinner was good. Yes, we're going.
it's okay.
We were talking about the strategies in Samurai and Crane. There was some guy here, Samurai, that said that he won, or well,
Are
he
you
left it
talking?
in a very good place in playing Crane in military way. I was saying that it is very impressive that Crane can play military
This
in this art
guy.
with
Look this
the
guy. Look.
and we were discussing the stats of the personalities in the cards. For example, Hikase, it is overpowered in my experience because I have already played against him, and he's very tough to beat. And the one that was very annoying to me was Genpachi. I don't know what you think about it.
Well, for Kikaze was the centerpiece of an
Look
old
that.
deck
Enter and play.
in L5R. I think it's a scout build before, so he was able to. You're going to use him like a super cavalry, and he's able to bring in a lot of movement to the Crane's game plan. So overall, he's a very good. He's the centerpiece
From
for
Genpachi.
Crane. Yeah.
And what do you
Yeah.
think about
So
Genpachi?
Gepachi is also he's okay scout. He has a scout keyword, which is important for this arc. I think in Samurai, overall Samurai has a lower power level compared to Lotus, but there are still some cards there, specifically for Crane, such as Kikaze, that will enable you to somewhat cheat in your personalities, make them unopposed. So Crane is interesting in Samurai. I don't know if the old build in Crane, the dueling build, is also viable. They had an old deck where you would burn through your fate deck. I forgot what it's called, but you will have to burn through your fate deck, meaning all of them will be discarded, and then you get to recycle it over and over again. I'm not too sure if it's here in Samurai or if it was in Lotus.
Maybe it was
But
in
yeah,
Lotus.
very
Yes, in Samurai the power is reduced constantly. Yes, it's not like Lotus that everyone was overpowered to 10
yeah.
times. Yes, yes. To me,
So
Genpachi is a very good card, not only for support, but I'm a Shadowland player, so he will always be copying the force of my Oni. So I feel very very cheat in that regard.
yeah, I think for Samurai, Crane leaned towards military, a bit of a mix between military and dueling. So very interesting for them. I still prefer the old style Crane, focus on duel, gain honor, turbo. But very
No,
interesting.
You really have fear to Genpachi.
no, we are going to have in Samurai. We are going to have the opportunity to fight the Crane in battle. So there is a chance to win against Crane. In Lotus, we didn't have that. We always in open. All your personalities were or both or they killed it. So now I prefer Samurai. I prefer Samurai Arc. Yes, and it's very interesting that they are going to have the military approach this time because it is something that Crane is regarded as. They always hide behind the curtains, behind their fans, and nice silk dresses. And no, now they are going to get tough in battle. They are going to get dirty.
Well, when
So, in your opinion, Pedro, what clans you think were the top in Samurai Arc?
Well, from what I heard from people, so far Samurai Arc is the most balanced in terms of all clans. But definitely, even if you have a balanced arc,
when
you're
a Crane make me a duel and kill me, I have
that's
a
balanced.
surprise for them.
That's just fair and balanced. We duel you and you die. Your personality dies. That's just balance for the game. But overall, the clans here in Samurai are considered to be, competitive. But you should always expect one or two clans, like for example maybe Mantis or Crane, to have that little edge over the others. I don't know much about the other clans, but from what I've heard, it's Mantis because of the
Whoa.
abilities of some of their personalities. I'm going to take a look at some of Kempi's recorded decks. I'm just going to check if there are other there are standout cards there from some clan.
Yes, I found a difference in Mantis usage because I think in Lotus they were really overpowered, and to me it was impossible to win against them. It was impossible. But now in Samurai, I have played some friendly matches with it. Some guys I'm going to expect not facing tomorrow, but I have maybe a 50-50 chance of winning against them because first, they don't have always the naval invasion defense or attack. So that is a great addition of how you are going to plan your attacks or your defenses. Uh, it was such an advantage in Lotus, and now I think it is how it should be played in all arcs. That trait of the Mantis, and their commanders are very resourceful. But I also think they depend too much on their followers, so that's maybe their weakness for starting. I don't know what you think about that, Pedro, and now.
Yeah, looking at some of the Mantis personalities available in Samurai, you can see here that they still have some
What do
very
you
strong
think about
personalities.
the lions? The lions are so fast. They attack so easily. They buy one follower, and they direct to destroy your province.
Uh, let's see. For Lion, I guess they're okay. It's going to be a Benica build always for me. Benica will be a very important personality for them. That ability to just multiply your force, paying 2 gold for the personality for the followers, going to be very strong. Um, a lot of unique personalities as well for them, like Oiko. Um, of course, Yasuko will also help in defending the personalities. So overall, I think it's good. Not overpowered, but then again, as you go on through the history of L5R, post Clan Wars, post Dark Journey Home, Lion always had a difficult time shining. It shined for a while in Lotus because of their Matsugohei, the what do you call this? The harpoon decks, one of their most competitive builds. Of course, you also have the Turbo Honor Lion before, where using the broken sword of the lion and some card effects, you'll be able to just honor out while in battle. Another build, of course, is Deeds of Honor. I think it's called the Deeds Bomb deck, which is, you repeatedly bow your opponents during the battle and you gain 2 honor for that. So I think coming from the previous Lotus edition, then going to Samurai, as with any other transition, there's going to be some form of recalibration of decks. Looking at some of Lion's available strongholds, you can see here that yes, there are some honor gain themes involved, um, but it's still going to be a very militaristic focused deck builds. So just a shout out to all of the ancestors. What the its initial printing was very powerful. So hopefully, unfortunately, it was nerfed along the way. So you no longer had the ability to throw one of your personalities as a an honorable dead. Before, Lion had that build where you just you throw that personality that has a built-in sneak attack, and throughout the game you're playing like a mantis, meaning you have naval abilities, and that went away during Samurai when it was reprinted or nerfed. So for me, Lion will still continue to struggle, but it will always have that ability to pose a threat. It's just going to be more of a military threat for them, challenging provinces, building your armies along the way.
Yes, as you said, it's going to be maybe a switch deck because they have to focus on the military first, and then if they have a good attack, they can only focus on the aspect of gaining honor afterwards. But yes, they're going to struggle a bit because their strongholds, and they're not the top of this arc, but they're not bad. They're not bad. Yes, there is one very interesting that you can cycle your hand because each time you attack, you can discard a card and rob a card. I don't know how that is going to help them a lot because yeah, sometimes Lion can go and use superior strategies to draw always the card they need for the right time in the battle. But I don't think that the stronghold is the best for this arc. Maybe the ones you already told were the yes, those were the strongest for our Lions Samurai that are going to fight in tomorrow.
Just to add what you said earlier, Julio, I think that you're referring to the old combo of Ikoma Otemi, the champion in Lotus, which helped Otemi and Sadahige. So Otemi will has a reaction that you can discard your hand to draw either 5 cards or the number of cards that you discarded, whichever is higher. And that allows Sadahige to just continuously, but because you have Sadahige, you can still cycle some of your discarded cards, which I think is very, very important for Lion, being able to get that additional copy of the Fate. But for Samurai, given how the power level dipped compared to before, I think Lion is still viable. It's still going to be a threat, but you'll just have to play Lion. Lion is, for me and for other players of Legacy, Lion is one of those clans where if you're a starter or a beginner and you want to be really good, maybe or you're trying to feel the game, Lion may not be your first choice because it takes a really good player to play Lion correctly. In the same way in Samurai, there are options available to Lion, like tactician builds, superior strategies, etc. But for you to be able to pilot it correctly, you need that skill level, to be able to, let's say, just go against Crane with some of their overpowered scouts, or with Mantis to try to avoid those traps, especially for if you're fighting against Mantis with range attacks or other shenanigans. So Lion is still strong, but it's going to be strong in the right person. The person who has that skill to think tactically during battle, and at the same time, those who will be able to create opportunities in every challenge. So if someone's playing Lion out there, don't give up on your clan. It's a very good clan, even in Samurai, but you just have to play really good to pilot it correctly.
Yes, maybe not doing so much complex strategies, but if you're starting, do something more simple and advance from there.
Well,
Exactly.
Rene says the in comparison with other editions, the Lions is not so good, but I guess it depends to the player. Always depend to the player. You can have the better cards in your deck, but when you playing, this is the opportunity to prove what player are you in the game. So I guess good players just like Rene and Kike, they fighting always always for the first places. And I guess this is the most important. The decks are so good. They have a good combo, and he can win for by honor too. And I guess it's for me it's an strong clan in this edition. And when I play with him, it's really hard fights. Really, como decimos en Guatemala, sí hay buenos morongazos entre los leones y los crab en ese momento. In this moment, lion and crab fight for everything.
I think one advantage of Lion is that they will always have more personalities than the other opponent because they tend to be cheap because their economy is not so well, and of course there are going to be a lot of battle actions that they're going to use. They excel in battle actions because that is where they develop the best. But yes, a miscalculating play can also defeat you totally because they are going to have a disadvantage in force because, of course, some of them are tacticians and the units are very low compared in against other in force, but they have to compensate that in greater numbers and that they are going to always maybe not against Phoenix or Green to start. They have to play like, yes, Pedro is saying, very carefully, but they also have a lot of options to make a good battle.
Well, we pass to the mantis. The mantis always and in all the editions, mantis is a strong clan. Really, what you have to say about the mantis? They really are powerful. Don't forget they come or they born because the crabs.
Yes. They come from a branch of the Kraft family. Yes, I don't know how is called the story about it, but I think it's how is called the name of that personality, Gabo. Osano Wo. Osano Wo is correct, right or not? Or Kaimetsu Wo. I don't
Really, I
remember
don't.
right now.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
a son of the brother of Hidakon. He don't want to kingdom of the crab. He is I don't know bad of the head, and he go to the
Kaimetsu
Squinkla
Wo.
to the
Oh,
little Iceland to the little Iceland, and it make an incredible warrior. So the mantis is a really strong. In all the editions, I remember the mantis in this edition, the mantis with commanders with I don't know with courtiers, they have really advantages for everyone.
yes, in this arc they have a stronghold that they can attach as an open action followers from their hands, and that makes them an advantage because followers in this arc, well, the expensive ones are very resourceful in the sense that their battle action are very useful, and the other variants I have seen in this arc is the commanders, and they have a lot of tricks behind their sleeves, and also they use, of course, followers, and it's very hard to stop them. But I think that in this arc they are beatable. They are not so overpowered as they were before.
Yeah, I agree. Mantis took a bit of a dip because Yashinko was already removed from the card pool in Samurai. Instead, what you have is Otemaru. But you still have strong options here if you're a Mantis player. You have Naizen, you have Etsui, which will somewhat be of a pest in gameplay. But overall, you can see here is there's a focus more on range attack, which is also relevant. Nobumoto, one of the good personalities. I think the experienced version is a good personality, a good option for you to run. Um, I can see here more of a hit and run kind of style of Mantis. Um, Attack, range attack, and then try to pull your personalities away from battle and then use some tricks to get them back into battle, but straightened. So very interesting card pool here for Mantis. You also see some Shugenjas, which will give you some sort of tricks as well. You can use some spells or keyhos that would complement your strategy. Overall, it's going to be a mixed bag for me for Mantis, but still competitive as well. You just have to take a look at what options are available for you. Maybe try to build a deck using their strengths. In this case, a lot of range attack, a lot of cheap commanders or scouts. I can see a lot of scouts here. So yeah, and of course taking advantage of the naval keyword. You can use that with your personality's abilities to just range attack and then move home. Keep pressuring your opponent. See if he'll commit to a block. If not, then maybe you can have some pump force to break that province. So mind tricks are good for Mantis in this set. So let's see. Interesting for me. For Mantis is very interesting for me here.
Yes, that is very important. Something that Coatis is referring in this moment. That the and you also said, Pedro, that the personalities that make range attacks in this arc, they don't have the damage trait, so they aren't going to take the first action when they attack. That is a big relief when you are defending. And also correct is the sense that if they enter a battle there, they will try to kill all the opposition. If they do not win that battle, they are going to retreat using order retreat and fight another day. And if they see they have a chance to get again in that battle, they will use Doom Intentions and Beloved of the Clan. That's a combo I see and said, okay, I am going to use that in Shadowlands because my Shadowland personalities also try to kill in battle or both. So I said, yeah, that may be a good strategy also for my deck.
Well, what do you think about Phoenix, the Clan Phoenix in Samurai Edition? And the next in the tournament, the last tournament of Samurai, Phoenix was the fourth place. What do you think about Phoenix? Have the chance in Samurai? You see a stronger deck, or we back again at the same question? The player make a good army. What do you think?
Yeah,
Um,
so go ahead.
yes,
Sorry.
yes. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, you first.
Come on, Peter.
Well, looking at the stronghold. Well, I always begin with the stronghold. For me, what immediately jumps out is the Agasha Foundries. Um, it's the stronghold of choice for some Phoenix Blitz decks before. So that leads me to think that maybe for Phoenix, it's going to be a bit of a military spellcasting deck. I know there are options there to use other stronghold, but what immediately comes to mind for me is that build. You also have a lot of Yujimbos for Phoenix, which will be relevant because there are some spells that work if you have a Shugenja and a Yujimbo in play or in the battle. So it's not. I don't think there's going to be some form of like control focusing on Shugen spellcasting for Phoenix. Although there's always that option. You can just forgo military, but it seems to me that for this arc, it's going to be a military with spellcasting support. We see here the introduction of one of the relevant personalities, um, o- Ochiai, Isawa Ochiai, which is good also. She has good stats. She's also a duelist and she can bow personalities. Um, And then we also have other personalities here, like the Yujimbos again. So decent force and chi stats. You have Imori. You have it's going to be okay, I guess, for Phoenix. Just rely on their spellcasting support, but again, it looks like they're going to be a military oriented deck, at least for this arc. I can see that happening.
What do you
Yes.
think? What they say? Collat Information Network. Look, his opinion. What do you think, Julio?
The merit is got really. Yes, I agree with him because the funny thing about the arcs is that all the cards were released at the same time, so you have to wait until the new stronghold was released, and you said, "Okay, now my strategy is going to be this," and you correct it. I think that it is very certain what Pedro said about they have to go military because they have some very important personalities as Aikune and Masakazu that really stand out of the others because they protect them against duels and they defend very well. But if the other player decides to attack and miscalculate something in a moment, they can also go to the defensive side and really hurt a player that may have not any defense for these personalities and all the other personalities that support these decks. They are very resourceful and very competitive because the spells to me is a card that in every arc it has the most interesting abilities and the most broken effects that you can find in comparison to the strategy cards. The spells to me are just above a bit. So Phoenix to me in that regard is very powerful.
The Phoenix is really hard to broke a province, and they have a really good defense. So they really play to one for by honor. So it's a strong deck. I think we we're going to pass to talk because we have a couple time. We're going to pass to talk to the spiders. We're going to for the first time in all tournaments in 2 years we're going to have two spiders and fighting in this edition. What do you think about the spiders, Peter? What do you think?
I have no idea about spiders. For me, they're just like mini Shadowlands. If you ask me, I know, what do you think about spiders? I just have to say, why? Why build a clan like that? Because you already have Shadowlands. But
Why exist the spiders?
yeah, yeah. I think, get that aside, I think uh, because it's the first appearance of Spider, you can expect that the themes, the build are still at its infancy. So I don't expect them to be that overpowered compared to before. If you're introducing a new clan, you'd want to establish that clan in subsequent editions with what is it good at. From what I can see here, the Spider Clan. Hold on, let me just check. Let me just check at their stronghold first because it's usually a good starting point to see what themes are involved for a clan by looking at their stronghold. So we have three here. Okay, refill your province, target zero fear. So it's going to be a fear. I think there's a fear effect here and so on. Um, yeah, for me, Spider is just a mixed bag. And I'm saying that with the hindsight of having played up until the end of L5R. So Shadowlands, etc. So I don't expect Spider to shine that well here in Samurai. Although I may be proven wrong. I think I may be proven wrong, but um, for me, Spider's just wait and see. Let's just see what it brings to the table for Samurai.
Well, we're going to see for the first time two spiders. to spiders in the Samurai edition. What do you think, Julio? You really are a Shadowland. So, what is your
I don't
opinion?
like the spider clan. I don't like. By first, I don't like the spider clan because that means the Shadowlands were killed in the next arc, and we have to play. We have to search ourselves in life and say, okay, I want to continue this game. Yes, I want to continue. So you have to search other alternatives of decks and how to construct them. But adding to what Pedro already said, yes, this is the introduction of the clan, and I think they were exploring a lot of things because they have monks, they have shugenkas, samurai, and almost everything. They, to me, they are like a discount dragon because they can do everything, but they are not superb in anything, and that it seems to be a weakness in this arc. At least I perceive that in them. I found very interesting just one deck in this arc. I have seen it before, played against me, and it was a really nice surprise because it was a zombie deck. He was creating personalities. He was using the personalities I have already killed, and he didn't make me very comfortable neither in the attacks nor defense because he was very controlling in the open action and also in battles. They have very strong action cards that manipulate to their advantage that battles. Um, Out of the strongholds, yes, this spider deck in the art was Sealed Castle. I never got into that strategy. I known that. I really don't know how to play that way, Colat. But I'm going to try because I like to play Shadowlands. I play mostly Onis in every arc. Sometimes Goblins, but yeah, I will see how to improve in every arc that there is a possibility to play Shadowlands. Um, they also,
What do you
as
think?
a good spider, they never die. But yeah, I don't like them in this arc, but let's see how they perform tomorrow.
What do you think about the opinion of Colat again? Best spider deck in the arc was Black Seal Castle since you could play Big Oni out of the stronghold. What do you think about that, Pete?
Well, Onis are going to be always very high on the gold cost, so that is going to be an advantage because you are going to use the other players' personalities. You are going to focus first on killing, perhaps, for example, a Chagatai, and with that Chagatai, you are going to focus on the lesser personalities, and in that way, you are going to increase your chances of making a chain because if you play Chagatai first and then you play maybe a Shono and they another lesser personality, you're going to create a chain. But I think that the stronghold suffers if the other personality, of course, hasn't any kill personalities, and also if you have to remove the personality you're targeting. So if you don't continue that cycle, you're going to be in trouble because your stronghold is not going to work in the future. To me,
Well,
that is a
we don't.
disadvantage of that stronghold.
Okay, Pete, what is your
Yeah.
opinion?
Just to add, I think Colat Information Network is correct. Big Oni. It's always going to be a mainstay for Shadowland based decks. You have a lot of Onis to choose from. And those Onis usually have interesting abilities. So even in Legacy, you can see the preferred deck of Shadowlands running out of Imperial Palace of Fooling was an Oni build, and for me that's always the signature build of Shadowlands, and to a certain extent Spider. It's not going to be a surprise if tomorrow we see a Shadowlands, or at the tournament we see a Shadowlands Big Oni deck, because that's like saying you're going to see a Crane dueling deck. Well, obviously, that's what Shadowlands is good at. So no changes from that.
You know the funny thing, Pedro? Just imagine
Yeah,
this.
but
a little bit, a tiny small crane, zero force, tricky, is going to defeat a big army tomorrow with a duel. I can
That's fair
comprehend that.
and balanced.
Very tiny human.
That's just fair and balanced.
Tomorrow we're going to see that battle. Tomorrow we're going to see that battle with the spiders. Want to see what they can do. But I always say the player is to make a good army. Always going to think in that. So, okay, we're going to make a summary, okay? Para nuestra gente en español, hemos platicado un poquito de lo que hace cada clan. Hemos hablado del clan Mantis, que es uno de los clanes muy fuertes que ha dominado los arcos. De hecho, Mantis fue el campeón de la liga el año pasado. Hemos hablado también de los Crabs, cómo los Crabs pues han medio subsistido ahí. La fuerza que tienen los Cranes, porque Crane, considero que Crane siempre va a ser como que uno de los clanes más estándar, el clan que siempre saca la casta, el clan que siempre está ahí pues batallando con todos. Hemos hablado de los leones lo que tienen es la rapidez, la agilidad, pero como siempre la debilidad de a veces quedarte sin carta pues puede ser una variante que determine el juego en su momento. Hemos hablado también de los Fénix, de la fortaleza del Fénix, de la defensa que tiene los Fénix y cómo han logrado los Fénix, pues en sí, la defensa les ha logrado dar ese honor que necesitan para poder ganar. Entonces, debido a este resumen, pues vamos a pasar ahorita, y si les parece, Julio, and Peter, and Alfredo, and everyone, if want to enjoy it in this live, we're going to talk about strategies. We're going to talk about strategies. The strategies can change the game. So, what do you think? We start with the rare cards or start with whatever card? What we like? What we want to talk? What do you say?
I think always you have to first start with the stronghold because that is going to be the basis how you're going to build the deck. And therefore you're going to select next the personalities, and therefore you're going after that going to select the strategy cards. In my personal case, I always like to have, from learning from past mistakes and defeats, I always like to have personalities with abilities, because in mid game or late game you're going to have perhaps use most of the fate card, and you're going to rely more on the abilities of the personalities. So another advantage of the personalities to have abilities that you're not going to use nor waste your fate cards, and therefore you're going first to select the personalities and continue to selecting the strategy cards. First the stronghold and following that line. And in this arc, I'm not going to reveal what I'm going to play tomorrow, but you can always sense what a player is going to be using. I'm going to play Shaolan, so tomorrow I'm going to using the big Onis and trying to focus on protecting them and maybe moving from battles. That is going to be and just another surprise that I'm not going to reveal in this moment, but I think that is the correct order of building a deck. First personalities, first stronghold, then personalities, then the strategies, and you are going to support that with the followers or some items or spells, depending what you're going to play. And of course, using the best cards, your clan is available in this arc. For example, Yaryutsu is very important in this arc for Spider, but it's going to be very wasteful in my Oni deck. I'm not going to use that card.
So, but what do you think? In this case, I'm going to make this question both of you. Who marks the move of the game in the edition against the player way, the way of the player playing the deck, or the construction of the deck? What really make all the
I think both.
all the edition mark the way of the make a game. O lo voy a decir en español y si quieres lo traduces mejor, Julio. O sea, ¿qué es lo
Sí.
que marca el ambiente del juego? En la edición, o sea, en la edición, ¿qué es lo que marca el ambiente? O sea, es decir, un jugador como, por ejemplo, vamos a poner un ejemplo como Intruder. Intruder ha marcado, ha generado en el ambiente una serie de decks muy difíciles de ganar. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que marca? O sea, y hablo en general de todos los clanes, porque hay clanes como los Crane que han hecho una serie de control que te evitan que ni siquiera los llegues a atacar. Incluso Fénix también hace lo mismo. Pero, ¿qué es lo que marca entonces esto? ¿Lo marca realmente la forma de que el jugador juega o cómo está construido el deck y le sale para que el jugador pueda aprovechar esas ventajas? ¿Qué opinan ustedes?
I think the idea behind you're going to say is what marks the environment and what mandates how the players are going to react to that very strong opposition. Um, I think always is the player because you have a strategy, and then you have to adapt how the play develops against your opponent. You have to say, okay, I have these cards. They are useful against my opponent right in this moment. So if he attacks me, I'm not going to defend because I am certainly not going to win that battle. So you have to choose the right moment, the right situation. If you are at disadvantage, to maybe balance the tips. And I think that, of course, the environment is marked by the clans that have the best strongholds in Lotus, for example, or Diamond. Cold Wall was dominant. Kitsuki, the dragon struggle that they jump from out of the provinces. But if you know that there is a player that gives you a lot of trouble, and maybe a clan that gives you a lot of trouble, you're going to have to put some meta on it, because other way your weaknesses are going to be not able to be competing against their strengths, and you will always be at disadvantage. In my case, I'm going to speak from experience. I have a very, very, very big time, a hard time playing against Mantis. I don't know why they have, but they always seem to be the upper hand against my Shadowlands deck. So I am more lean against them to play some meta. And I found very interesting that I play more meta against Mantis than even Crane. And that to me is it's funny because I'm trying to beat those kind of decks. But I don't know what Pedro thinks about it. What marks the environment? If the players or the cards that the designers put in game.
I think both. But before I answer that question, I just want to add to what you said earlier. When it comes to building decks, I think a good rule of thumb is to first take a look at what you're trying to build. It depends on your deck building style, but for me, I always start with the stronghold, because that will determine the overall strategy of your deck and whatever card you put into your deck. So um I think universal principles in deck building is that when it comes to the fate cards, utility is almost always prized. So try to put in cards that are, for most of the time, will you can play them without any restriction. So there are a lot of effects in L5R, in any other arc for that matter, that have strong effects, but there are just too many restrictions. And if you can put a card in your deck with a strong effect that has little to no restriction, then that would be better. Multiple use cards, for example, are also good. Utilities like, just to name several, like the Height of Courage, which is not only a anti-movement but also a force pump, and others. You can also take a look at unique effects, meaning cards that that on their own, they may cost more, but what they bring into the table or to your strategy is very unique that no other card can replace it. So speaking from legacy, these are usually your Kitsuki Kaagi's Journal, Egg of Panku. I think in Samurai, there are also these kinds of unique effects, cards that produce these kinds of unique effects that you could also take a look at. I agree with Julio in saying that, you should prefer personalities with abilities. Um, because of what they consistently turn by turn can give you good results, especially if you're trying to forward your strategy. I know before that people are tempted to bring in boxables, meaning those personalities that you can buy with just your stronghold and have good stats. But in the long run, these kinds of personalities often, they don't offer you something that would change your game state while playing. So you have to balance that between boxables and personalities with abilities. Um, Always go for persistent effects. So if you're going to choose between, let's say, a fate card that produces a specific effect and let's say a follower or an item that produces the same effect, it's usually better to have that permanent card in play rather than the fate card, because it's just a one time effect. So try to look at your items, try to look at your followers. These are usually cards that stick into play unless they're destroyed, of course. And in the long run, if you're able to protect them, then you can consistently, at least once per turn, be able to use their ability. So persistency is always a consideration. Now going back to your question, Gabo, it's for me, it's both. But since this is a limited format, the number one consideration should be your card pool. You can be a very very good L5R player, knowing all of the strategies, the tricks, but if the card pool isn't just working for you, if you don't have that many options, then maybe you should try another clan or another strategy. Um, for me, there are two kinds of players. The deck builders, the really good deck builders, and the pilots. Those two archetypes for me, I've noticed them throughout my card gaming life. Some people are just really really good in creating decks, really creative, but sometimes they fail as players when they're not as good as the other type of player, the pilots, who are really good in playing rather than building decks. A good player for me is one who has, a combination of these two characteristics. He is good, at least decent in deck building, but he's also really good in identifying strategies, learning the board state, identifying opportunities whenever you're attacking or doing your strategy as a whole. So for me, it's a combination, but overall, it's still the card pool that will determine that. A mark of a really good player is one who can take a very decent deck, a decently built deck, and pilot it above or way beyond its potential. So those players are very very rare, sometimes very rare to see, and it's always a pleasure watching these kinds of players. So yeah, again, for me, in the end, it's both, but it will be determined largely by the card pool.
No, la verdad que sí, si me ayudas ahí, Julio, a traducir para todo el público en inglés. Mi inglés es muy malo, así que... pero eso no lo vayas a traducir, porfa. No, bueno,
Nada
no,
como-
bueno, ahorita yo quisiera bueno, tienen toda la razón. Primero vamos a ir construyendo un deck. Yo creo que este primer live solo es una entradita, una antesala y nos vamos a ordenar bien. Yo creo que vamos a hacer muchos más. Esa es la intención. Pero tal vez ahorita me gustaría enfocarme un poquito en las estrategias. O sea, ¿qué estrategias? No hablemos de estrategias específicas para determinados decks, pero hay unas estrategias que me llaman bastante la atención, que pueden ser estrategias que cualquiera puede usar, o sea, que en cualquier deck puede marcar una diferencia. Por ejemplo, Incredible Resilience es una carta en la cual, after the resolution of an enemy player battle action target one of your personalities, the player choose and bows one of his unbowed personality in the current battlefield. What do you think about that card, Pete?
Sorry, I'm just reading it. After the
¿Me
receive
puedes
battle action,
traducir,
the
Julio,
card will.
por favor?
Sí, ahí está.
It's okay. Bow to bow. I sorry, bow. It depends. It one thing that you should consider is you take a look at what effects are strong in the format. So for samurai, I guess bowing is a strong effect. So you could put this as decent to strong, but take note if there are other straightening effects in the format, then definitely this card will be put down a notch. Um, yeah, so it's unique, one off. It doesn't. I think there are other better effects here if you just want to. Okay, so first it's unique, so you can only include one of it in your deck, and it's a reaction. So this card will stay in your hand while you wait for your opponent to produce an action. So if the opponent doesn't produce an action to which this card can react to, then it's going to be a dead card in your hand. Personally, I would rather look for something like a battle action, open, or a limited action that does something proactively, meaning you can play it without waiting for your opponent to play another card before you play it. So for me, it's okay. It's okay. There are a lot of, it's unique and it's a reaction. So it's just okay for me.
I completely concur with Peter because, as he said, it's unique. It limits the amount of cards you can play, and also you have to be proactive in this game. As for example, if you're playing the shouts in crab, you're trying to build a chain of actions. But if in some times in the game that chain is cut, all your cards in your hand are going to be useless. So as a rule of thumb that I agreed also is that you have to play cards that do not depend on others, that they play by themselves. Do not create complex combos because yes, they are awesome to play, but they're very difficult because you are playing against an opponent and that opponent is trying to also beat you. So unless you have, for example, playing a goblin card army that it doesn't matter if you are going to lose like 3 guys in the battle because you already have another 5. I will go ahead with those type of cards that they get better in time as you play it. But if you're playing on the other spectrum of the card games, you are focusing in only one personality or maybe 2 or 3. You want to play simple cards that they work as themselves. Yes. And also another thing to see is that you want to focus on the cards of course of the strategy of your game and try to use and abuse them because that is going to make the difference between the victory or defeat against your opponent. Because for example, you're playing against a unicorn, he's going to use the unicorn trait of cavalry for taking out your first promises. So you are going to have to, when playing against unicorn, count the 2 first promises as lost. They're gone. And adapt from there. So yes, the strategies from the cards is very interesting because you have to choose wisely what you build the deck and how you play it. As Peter says, the 2 kind of players, and I totally agree with that.
What do you think about this card? Fight another day. We'll talk about this card days before, but lose to honor, move home, then strain all units in your current army. Is this move is an inhuman? Drop a card. What do you think? This card can use. I don't know. Every player, lions, crane, crab, mantis, phoenix. Everyone can use that card. What do you think?
I think just maybe all clans can use it because, as we said before, even for decks like Crane or or Phoenix, they can also go military. But that loss of honor is not going to affect them that much. But the possibility of saving an army that you are losing a battle is priceless. And also they have the other that is similar to this card that is called Order Retreat. So I think those cards work very well in every deck, but it's your preference. If you, for example, use non-humans, you get a bonus of drawing a card, and you have to also choose in the previous card about all your personalities go to home. You don't choose. You don't have the possibility to say, okay, these guys will remain. On the other hand, order retreat gives you that chance because you maybe have five personalities in that battle, and you can send home maybe three, and just remain with two because that is enough to destroy the province. So it will depend of the your deck construction and how you see things are deploying in the battle. Because if you need people to defend in the opponent's turn, you're going to better prefer the order retreat.
What
Yeah,
do you
same.
think,
I
Pete?
agree. I agree. For me, it's and I agree also with the comment of Colat. It's
Yes.
primarily for me. It's primarily for non-human decks like I don't know rattling. Because if you don't have a non-human, you won't be playing that card to the best of its abilities. You're just going to miss out on that draw. And ordered retreat provides a better option compared to that. So for it's just going to be for non-humans for me. And if ever for non-humans, maybe just one off in that deck. Again, it depends
Pete,
on what's the strongest effects in samurai. Is it bowing? Is it destroying? That will determine what cards you put into your deck. So if bowing is a very common theme, a common battle action, or a common limited or open action, then straightening effects will be preferred over other effects.
what do you think, Pete, about Draw Your Blade? This is a card. I use that card in my deck, but I guess it's a card they have more characteristics the other ones. I mean, you don't have to target one personality in your army. Mean you have the first action. You can bow a card without attachments, but the second one is when you have to target your personality, but don't say what personality you have to perform or target. And I guess this card is really good one for, I don't know, for every deck. But what do you think about this card? Draw your blade.
Draw your blade for me is good. It has two battle actions, which suggests that mostly that the decks that would put this into their sorry, the clans that would put this into their decks would be military focused. Um, Battle, the its utility as well because you target an attachment and a personality. So it's a good utility card for the time, and bowing without regard to the force of the personality that you're trying to bow. Not many restrictions, only comes at the cost of dishonoring your personality. I think it's a good card. So maybe 2 to 3 off for me.
Okay. What Colat said, I was a card that I remember seeing a lot of play. Yeah, I guess so much player played that card. What do you think about this Desperate Warner? this this is I don't know. What do you think about this card, Pete? In this case, because Julio
Oh,
is out
sorry.
in
Oh,
this
okay.
moment.
Okay, so for me, Desperate Wager is it's a one-off. Usually, we put just one copy of that because it's a finisher. It's what we call finisher deck. It's a finisher card, meaning if it's just to make sure that you finish off your opponent militarily in just one turn. So maybe one off. It you have to take into consideration the cost. It's 7 gold cost. Um, If you have the opportunity to attack your opponent's final province, then by all means use it, but just only one of that. You don't have to put that many.
What do you
Again, this
use?
yeah,
What card do you
beef
use? Good in the act
beef
or order retreat?
I
What
would
cards do you use in a deck?
Caught in the act is, I think, okay, maybe one off, just one off of that. And the same with ordered retreat, maybe just one off of that, because some of it depends on the situation. So those two cards I would consider situational. I would rather have cards in my deck that produce something that targets your opponent's personalities. So caught in the act, it just reacts whenever your personality gets bowed. So maybe one off. It's the same with what's this card? Justly earned victory. It's another one off like justly earned victory. So yeah, situational. The cards are situational and it's a reaction. So if you're afraid of getting your personality bowed, then maybe just put one or two. But personal preference, just one.
This card, beloved of the clan. I guess this card is really, I don't know. This card is really, I don't, everyone want this card because it's really good. But what make this really good? This card, we can use in, I don't know, in every deck or on a specific deck. What do you think, Pete, and before past Julio?
Okay, I think this is a card that it can go in every decks because even if it has a political use as limited, and for example, Shadowlands cannot use it, I already can use the battle action. That is very powerful because you are going to put a unit that it is outside of the battle again on it. If you combine it, as previously says, with Fight Another Day or Order Retreat, this is a very powerful combo, and also it gives you the liberty of attacking and knowing that in the next turn of the opponent you are going to have at least one personality able to defend if he survives, of course. And I think this is a card that almost in every deck it goes. It should go if totally you don't have, as for example, Doom Intentions, because to me Doom Intentions is the card that it has to go in this arc and also in Lotus. Whatever you play, the Doom Intention has to go.
Yeah, I agree. Beloved of the Clan would be for me a less desirable card compared to Doomed Intentions. Doomed Intentions has that additional clause where if you are the defender, I think you get to play an additional action. So same effects, straight and then move. Movement cards are always good. You can sneak in your personality into battle, and surprise your opponent. For me, Beloved of the Clan, given that it has a limited action that reduces honor gains, clans like maybe Mantis, Scorpion, or any other clan that finds it hard to go against honor running decks might consider this. It has a decent focus value of 3, so yeah, it's decent, but Doomed Intentions definitely for big units like Shadowlands, Shadowlands deck. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we will talk more about more cards, and in a couple minutes we're going to, we're going to make a gift of cards here in Guatemala for all the players of Guatemala. We're going to make a gift of cards, rare cards, and Pete, you're going to show collection, right? If someone want to buy a card, it's going to be rifle for us. So we're going to
Yeah,
talk
I
about
put all of my cards, my cards
so
already in the package.
Okay,
So no, nothing
I
left,
guess.
but I give it to you guys.
Okay, and well, if you want it, we pass to see your collection, and we start to to offer to the players. What do you say?
I already packed much of the cards in the
Okay.
package. But let me just see if excuse me for a moment. Let me just check if there are others. But only a few left. So excuse me for just a minute.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Está
Okay.
diciendo que ya empujó muchas de las cartas. Creo que ya vendió bastante de lo que había mostrado.
De lo que
Entonces,
quería.
ajá, ya tiene empacado bastante. Entonces, va a ser difícil, ¿verdad?
Bueno, no, no, sí, sí. Bueno, para entender no estoy tan mal. Para hablarlo sí
Ujú.
creo que soy mero burro.
Eso creo que nos cuesta a dos. O sea,
Really a donkey to talk English, but I'm going to try to make better the next time. Well, uh, more cards. Simple cards can change the game. You die with me for heroes. Heroes, I guess heroes is in Lion Clan and Crab Clan, but the clan is really use it is Crab. What you think about this card? Is a simple card, it's common card, and I guess specific because it's an heroic card. But what do you think about this card for a crab? It's good,
it is
not good.
it is very good because first it is common. So this means it's going to be easy to be available for every player because the chance to get it is going to be maximized because it's a common card. And therefore you know that when you are facing against a crab or a lion, you know that he might have the possibility of have that card in his hand, so you will not try to kill another personality. You will try to maybe bow the personality or taking it out of the battle before you have to make the call of, okay, I don't have nothing else to do, I'm going to kill the personality. Besides that, crab also have the bonus of their personalities that are very very resilient, very hard to kill. So yes, it's an important card, but you kind of smell in the air that maybe the other player has it, so you can limit the way you're playing, maybe guessing. But for instance, if I'm going to play against a crab, I know that I don't have to kill the personalities of that player. I will try to first move them out of battle because they don't. If I try to bow them, they have a lot of cash that unbow them. So to me, the most effective thing to do against crab is get them out of battle. Yes, and then try to bow them and ultimately kill them or pass, or
If you
maybe
kill them, if you kill, you have a surprise.
yes. If I kill a crab, I know I'm dead.
Dudas de matar a un pobre crabcito. Okay, Pete, what do you think this card, Versatility Army? What do you think about this card, Pete?
Okay. Um, you need cavalry to team battle. So I guess you have to pack in a cavalry if you're infantry based, or in infantry if you're a cavalry based one. And the effect is quite simple. So but you have to pay gold. So it's situational for me. It's situational, honestly. So maybe not that good, or not that utility based. So it's okay. It's okay. If your deck is already, it has already a mix of that cavalry and infantry, then maybe you can find a good way for it to work. But if not, then you'll be forced to rebuild your deck just for that, and that's not always good. Stick to cards that won't get in the way of your build for me.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. What do you think unexpected in intimidation? You use this card in your deck. If you use it, why you use it this card? I never use it. I have the three cards, and I don't know. It just I don't use it in this edition. But if you use it this card, why? Why you use it this card in your deck? I don't know, Julio.
I will only use this card if I, for example, use it with a combo of Impressive Resilience. I think it's the card that prevents from bowing or moving a personality. And I will use it against the opponent. I have it in my hand, and I say, for example, Hidakun is going to have Impressive Resilience. So he gets a bonus of 2 plus force, and he cannot bow nor move from battle. And then in the other opportunity I have, I will use this card for trying to maybe kill it or remove it from the game. And that would be my combo, but it's a combo of two turns, and many things can happen in 2 turns. So I will leave it perhaps for the end of the battle. Like, okay, is the last 2 cards I'm going to play, and if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose.
Yeah, I agree. It's too for me. Um, it depends. If you're the player, you should ask yourself, is this card really that important? I mean, just to make sure that your opponent bows just to make sure that your opponent bows his personality. The rest are just additional clauses. So what it guarantees is there's a bowed personality in your opponent's army. So I think there are other better effects out there. Some effects that even give you additional options. If you really want to try this, if you want to just make sure that your opponent's personality is either bowed, destroyed, or removed from the game, maybe one off.
Yes, as said before, maybe, for example, try. I think it's called unexpected resistance or resilience. I don't know, but the card says that it has 4 focus value, and you have to bow or move home a unit. And the effect is that you can bow an opponent unit. And if you combine it with cards we were already playing, talking about, is like Beloved of the Clan or Doom Intentions, I think that combo is better than Intimidation. I think Unexpected Intimidation. I think the card was called. I think that combo with as I said is better than that presented in this case. Yes.
I try to find this card. This card is really expensive in the market. But what make special this card? I guess low stance. Okay. First of all, you have to use it in a samurai army. But what to make really special this card? Pete, what do you think about this card? What make it special this card?
I think for me, it's the last clause, particularly after this combat segment ends. So unlike other effects that target a personality and reduce his force to zero during the combat segment, there are still other opportunities for your opponent to increase the force of his personality and just not just zero. But this one, since it takes effect after the combat segment ends, even if your opponent plays force pumps, after the combat segment, it will still be reduced to zero. So I think that's what makes this card somewhat unique because it makes sure that at the end of the combat phase, before resolution, the personality's force is reduced to zero. So that's the important thing there. So there's no more opportunity for your opponent to play force pumps like, let's say, charge or similar cards.
Yes.
Well, this is card for you, Julio. Let's talk about items and really items to change the game. Because really, and sometimes one item can change the game. So what do you think of your card? Maybe you're going to use it tomorrow. but
I am going to
venomous
use
steel.
totally, totally. I'm going to use it. I don't care if the he is going to see this live and prevent that. I'm going to use this card because it is very important to make sure that when you are going to commit that you're going to kill a personality, that personality doesn't return. And seeing that many crabs and other clans also have the ability to return from the dead with maybe will. This makes sure that that card is going to be removed. But more important is it says remove all action cards. That means items and followers. And seeing that many players are using items and followers, it's very important to say goodbye to those cards forever. Goodbye.
Okay, Pete, what do you think? That sea blade is an item in every deck have to use it or don't. What do you think about that card?
Well, if you can afford it, I think Chi Blade is okay. It's good. It allows you to draw an additional card, which you can use in battle. Plus, it since it's an item and it modifies your personality's force, even if it's bowed, it still has that +2/+1, +2 force +1 chi bonus. It's okay. The main consideration here is cost. So 4 gold cost. It won't fit in every
Lion.
deck like Lion that has just 3 gold cost. But for those clans that have or that are able to pay the 4 gold cost, definitely it's an item to be considered. So it enables you to refill your hand without any drawback, if I might add, except for just the gold cost. I used to play this in my Orochi deck for Mantis, and it helps a lot in making sure that whenever you're going to battle, you have a number of cards in your hand, because sometimes a battle will often require you to play most of your cards in your hand. So this allows you to refill and play more actions. So it's good. It's okay. It's a utility card.
Yes, I totally agree. And something important that when you're constructing the deck is interesting to see that you can combine this card with a holding that is called Temples of Gisei Toshi. Allows you to see the 4 cards of top of your fate card, and if it's an item or follower or spell, you can keep it. So in this case, if you really fail to maybe get one of those three types of cards, at least you can see what is going to be the card that you're going to be drawing with the Sea Blade, for example.
I guess are really good cards and specific cards for every clan. But that's a blaze for me is I have to use it because give me one card, one plus one card. In I don't have home. They have more cards to steal a fate card. So I use it because I really need that card in a battle. So that's for that reason I use it. I guess it's a card everyone have to use it. But I don't know what you think about that.
Mm, I think you passed already one item that is very interesting to me. It's called Onidaikyu. It's a bow. It costs 3 gold cost. Um, I'm sorry. I just
What
read
card?
it.
This.
Onidaikyu. No, no.
Okay,
It
Oni
begins with
what?
O. Se llama Onidaikyu.
Shout out to the
Oni.
Samurai Armors.
Oni Daikyu.
They're awesome.
This card.
That one. Yes. To me, that is one of the most powerful um, items in this arc
Okay,
because
both this card range attack of 3. Destroy this card
Mhm.
and target an enemy follower or personality without follower is a strong card. With a great force that this personality destroy the target. Fuck. It's a good card. It's a good card.
it's
I
excellent.
never but for you because you have really have big force with the Onis.
No. This card means if, for example, if you attach it to a courtier, a crane courtier that it has zero force, he can he can destroy almost anyone who has an attachment or a follower in this case for only
Really?
three of gold cost. And besides, it has another usage that, for example, if the personality you are trying to target already has a follower and that follower has three force, first you bow it, range 3 attack, and there are some cards that allow you to strengthen the unit or strengthen a certain card, and then you can use the second ability. It's, to me, it's an excellent
This
card. I don't know if you saw very much play Pedro that card or what you think about it, or I'm just.
Yeah, I think it's good for clans that have low personality force. I think defensive clans will benefit from that second ability, and it doesn't destroy your personality. But I think the card, just the card. So yeah, it's okay. You can put it as a deterrent for attacks, especially if the opponent does not put followers or attach followers to their personalities.
What do you think the Footman Pike? Footman Pike says attacking enemy personalities may not move this personality battlefield using the rulebook cavalry player ability. With a battle, destroy a target card, cavalry card. What do you think about this card? Is really useful or don't? What is your opinion about this?
I wouldn't use
I
it
think it's
personally.
okay. At least use it for just the two gold cost two force, but its abilities or traits are just too situational. You need to match up against a unicorn to make it relevant. I think there are other better two gold cost force modifiers out there.
In Chuda Hankyu, what your opinion about this card? Destroy this card, dishonor this personality, and target a follower or personality without follower with 4 or lower force at any location. Lose 3 honor, destroy the target. What do you think about this?
I think it's better than the last one presented, but this again, it will only serve that type of military decks that they know they have the money to buy it, and then the not suffer from the dishonor effect that produces. Because if you put it, for example, for Lion, if that personality dies, it's going to really hurt.
Yeah, just an alternative to that card is just buy a follower with a range attack of 4, or you're basically paying a one 3 gold for a one effect card.
One,
So just if I were you, just buy a follower with range attack that produces a range attack of 3 or less, and it may cost even cheaper than that, and it will last longer compared to that item. So not good.
In this one, Armor of the Ryu, what is your opinion about this card? This armor? Pete, what do you think?
4 gold cost gives you cavalry and then moves around. Um, it's okay. The gold cost is decent. 3 decent force modifier. It can see some play. If you bring out a big first turn, if you're able to bring out a personality with good force and then add this to his cavalry, you may break a province, and then, or you can use it to just surprise your opponent. It's good movement. It's a good movement card.
yes, I see that as a more than okay card because it allows you to have the movement go home also. For example, if you're attacking with all your personalities, at least you're going to have the assurance that that personality with the armor of the Ryu is going to return home. If the opponent, for example, doesn't defend anything and you went all in, you at least are going to have one unit that is going to return.
Okay, we're going to talk about the events. What do you think about these events? Well, okay, we're going to found someone. An event can make uh, the game in this moment. What you think of winter storm? No, it's a good, but here in Guatemala, it's useless. I don't know why, but it is useless. But for me, it's useless because everyone have more gold cost. So even the Lions have more gold cost in this time in this edition.
In your experience, Pedro, you think that events are more important than regions, for example, or maybe not?
Uh, from my experience, events are you. I usually put around 3 to 4 events, and depending on the build, if it's more of a control, then you bring in those events that will help you prevent your opponent from attacking. But usually it's just 3 to 4 events. And winter storm is okay, but depending on your local meta. In the Philippines, we you can still see people playing winter storm just to prevent the blitz deck from overcoming them. um but it's okay, it's a good defensive card. For me, the good events are those that last not just only for one turn, or will provide you with effects that will. It's supposed to be a support card. Events are support cards really, and the longer they stay in play or their effects stay, the better. So yeah, in time of war, to give an example, in time of war, although you don't see this card that often in other formats, this isn't a good example. So it will limit your opponent's honor gain to just 5 per turn. So if you are very concerned for against Crane or other honor running decks, then in time of war can be a good event to put into your deck. But for me, the better option, if it's in the card pool, would be the longest night. No, 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 sorry, not the longest night. As the shadow falls, if it's available, then for me, it's a better option than in time of war.
I don't know that card. I'm going to search it as the shadow.
Yeah, it's 2 turns, no honor gain whatsoever.
Well, the classic in time of
Imperial Jade,
war.
yes. Mhm.
Why I use in time of war? Because the Crane, Phoenix, and Lions
Dragons also.
win by honor, just like madman. But what do you think about you use this card in your deck in time of war? It's a classic. It's a common card.
For military decks, certainly, because that's the only way you are going to try to stop them from winning a lot of honor in just one turn. I remember that a stronger opponent of in Gold Edition Arc, a Crack Aperture Wall deck can win like maybe 16 honor in just one turn without uh, making a sweat. And yes, that is the only way, at least for this moment, that military decks have it easy to stop another honor deck running and achieving those 40 honor points required for victory. But there are ways also, but that's the basic to go.
Hey, what do you think, Pete?
Yeah, it's a good event if your meta has a lot of honor running decks, but situational. Just what you showed earlier, a new wall is also a good event to put in. Specifically if you have holdings that you need at the start of the game. So a new wall is another mainstay in almost all formats that where it's available, like Legacy, Samurai. So I'd consider putting a new wall too if you have that kind of holding. So I'm looking at some of the events just to name a few. that are. Let me just check some because Samurai has
Okay.
a lot of interesting events.
Yo creo que hay eventos que para cada clan hacen una diferencia. Pero, honestamente, yo creo que estas cartas son como que lo más común que podés llevar en el ambiente que estamos jugando aquí en Guatemala. Si me puedes ayudar a traducirle ahí a Pete, Julio, porfa. Disculpa.
Sí. As Salguero said, he said that these are the basic card types that you are going to have to use in your environment. And in this case for Guatemala, almost any player has to use it because we already know how the other players plays, and we also know certainly that their strategy is going to be somehow renowned. So it's going to be desirable to have these card types in your deck as per default. In the case of previously said, in time of war, if you are playing a military deck, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yo creo que para los próximos en vivos vamos a... Y si me ayudas a traducirle ahí a Pete cuando termine. En los próximos en vivos vamos a analizar, si gustan, vamos a poner el video del juego y en los próximos en vivos tal vez vamos a analizar directamente al deck campeón, por ejemplo, y al deck que quede en segundo lugar. Tal vez para darle un contexto a los que no saben y que en algún momento van a unirse a ver un live de este juego, que es la verdad que es el más maravilloso que conozco. Pero para darles una idea de en qué consiste o por qué se arma así un ejército. Y me gustaría rendirles tributo a tanto al campeón, subcampeón, el tercero, y el cuarto lugar, para poder que los podamos analizar en un en vivo y ver su forma de juego, su estrategia de juego y qué pasó en el juego. Yo creo que eso nos va a ayudar bastante a mejorar nuestros live y a platicar bastante, y por supuesto voy a preparar una mejor presentación de cartas para que platiquemos de ellas, pero no sé si me ayudas ahí, Julito, a más o menos darle el contexto a Pete.
Okay, Pete, in the next slides we are going to try to analyze the winners of the tournament and get into the minds of why they use those cards and why they choose it, and maybe also have to tell them, to the audience, when is the right time to play those cards, because it's going to be situational of the game, but why the usage of that cards is going to be on their decks. And on the next lives, we are going to have a better presentation and the deck list, because that is going to help a lot to understand what the process of constructing decks and also playing in the tournament is going to give a lot of context in the next lives.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to analyze and to get in the mind of another player and say, okay, I will have done, instead of this, I will have put this other card, and maybe they will say, oh, this card is totally useless. I don't know what I was thinking when I put it in my deck. I don't know. It's going to be fun.
All right, let's see.
Dice que está de acuerdo, que se apunta.
Sí, cabal. No, si para entenderlo le hago ganas, pero para hablarlo creo que estoy algo mero pato. Yo creo que hay una... bueno, Pete es uno de los que, pues, ha mostrado nuestros juegos para todo el mundo, creo. Vamos a ver.
Sí, él nos creó.
No, not my video games. Not the video games.
a lot of video games on his channel, but we thank you a lot for making that video for us. It was really nice,
No problem.
and all the guys in here in Guatemala were very very joyful with that video.
Sí, y la verdad que thank you, Pete, because it's important to us to see us in other countries, but I really grateful for that.
I have a
Really
question
thanks
for
for
you.
that.
Problem.
In the case when we are taking the videos, what view do you think is better? That one that is from the top, from upside, or you think it is better the one that is from a flank?
Yeah, I think this is okay as long as the entire game space is can be seen. As long, yes, so it's one of the biggest problems to find a good camera angle where all of the cards can be shown in the video. But as long as I think the preferred one is top down, so that all of the card space is visible.
Well, yes, that is.
And tomorrow, oh, dale Julio, dale Julio.
Yes, top down. I think that is very nice. Do you have any tips how to achieve that? Because top down it would mean that it is above the players' heads, as I understand it. But I don't know how to do that. I only have a
Yeah,
tripod.
it requires a special equipment. I'm still asking the people from the US what they use, but they have yet to get back to me on what they use as an equipment. I usually it's okay, but if it's a bit slant, it's okay as long as we get to see all of the cards. It's very difficult sometimes to comment if a player just plays something and then he puts that card outside of view. So it's very difficult to understand sometimes the strategy or what happened.
Okay, yeah. So this one that is presented now in the screen is decent. You say.
I don't know why, but
¿Estabas
it's a
hablando
bit
de mí?
blurry for me.
Yes, I think the internet connection is not very nice in this moment. But let's say this one is taken in, I think, HD or full HD. Those are, I think, those are decent. When you see it or not.
I don't know what
El audio no está cargando.
so bad, but normally o sea, se mira muy bien, pues, o sea, el video siempre se ha visto bien, no sé por qué ahorita, me imagino que es por mi internet, que se ve así de algo gacho.
Sí, ya nos dieron la conexión, así el pitazo de váyanse a dormir.
No, pero el día de mañana vamos a tratar la manera nos vamos a preparar desde temprano. I don't know, Pete, if you want to be with us again tomorrow, talk about the games. Tomorrow we're going to prepare something better, the last thing we do. And we have more equipment, and we're going to prepare with the judge, the person that's going to see the game, and the two players, and in a quiet room. So we're going to try to make a better transmission of the games, and we're going, I guess, every tournament we're going to be better and better and better. But this year is only to start. So we're going to prepare something very good for tomorrow. If you want,
Right.
you are invited to.
Thank you. I don't want to make any promises though, because tomorrow for us is Sunday, so I have to go to church. But I will. I'm Catholic, so I'll join when I can after. Hopefully, the priest will have a short sermon, so so I'll see. I'll join when I can. Thank you.
No, thanks to you, man. And we are going to appreciate your commentary and also your time in this moment. you have a lot of experience, and you have a nice personality also, man.
Oh, thank you. I just have a
And we wait.
question.
No,
What
was it the first time? Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, say Pete. Yeah, go on, go on, go on.
I just have a question. Since it's honestly we never prior to Gabo uploading his videos, we never really knew that there was actually a play group in Guatemala. We always assumed that for L5R the spots where most players are located were either in North America, Europe, particularly in Spain and France. There are also some in some like in Britain, and in Asia usually it's Philippines and Malaysia. I just wanted to ask, given your group composition right now, what's how would you describe it? Is it mostly beginners, or are there long time players as well?
Julio, please.
Look, I would say it's a combination because there are a lot of long-time players, but some of those guys, including myself, I think that are just learning the game when we went back in maybe 2020, and I honestly didn't play well in when the game was active. So I think that a benefit from Guatemala is that the country is very small, so we can gather all the guys from all the parts of the country, and really only the guys that play the game, they locate in Guatemala City, so it's very easy for us to get along and play each month. And we're trying to make better strategies, to make better games, and well, I'm just only speaking for myself because there are very strong players in here in Guatemala. So I think that in the tournament that they are going to be doing in Sun and Moon, if the guys that are strong here, they're going to at least be competitive in that tournament.
Yeah, and 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 that's good. That's good that it's a mixed one, because the younger players, I think your group is at that good spot where you have experience, but at the same time a lot of you are still discovering the game. So it's good that what you're doing is you're going through each arc, trying to have a taste of what L5R was like during Lotus, what L5R was like during Samurai. So I think that's a very good step. And as to your play style, and I'm not the only one who observed this, but you guys are really good. I've seen some plays that I haven't seen before in other play group, and I think you guys have a lot of potential. If you get in that number of games, it's not unheard of that maybe you can produce really really high caliber characters, not only just for Guatemala but internationally as well. There's a lot of techniques that I've seen while playing that, I haven't seen that one before, or I haven't considered that interaction before. So I guess it's because a lot of your players are, or a considerable number of your players are new, that they're experimenting, which is good. Because once, if you're an old play group, what's bad about it, if you're an old play group, is just you just rely on the same cards. You just rely on the same old cards. You already know, this is what I'll put, this is what I'll play, etc. So L5R for the old play groups is just very boring. And it's very refreshing to see you guys come up with those kinds of plays, because it reminds us that before coming up with that list of cards that you should play, your that experimentation, that discovery was really like half of the fun of playing L5R. So it's just not a question, but an honest observation coming from myself and from some of the people that I've talked with off stream when they watched you guys play. So I hope you continue that. You keep experimenting, and then if you find something strong, we'll just copy it. I'm kidding. Thank you.
No, a ver si me ayudas ahí, Julio. Lo que esto como te conté, Pete, inició hace. This start in 2079, I guess. We started in the 2020 to play a league, and now it's amazing league because we are 15 playing all one per month, if you can understand me, and we try to make we can recruit new players because it's impossible. It's a dead game. But what we try to do is in the next year is try to make just like I don't know, just like a real life of this. I mean, the people see, meet the players, support them, and try to make his games, and it's just like in the TV, make a novel of this, but no sé si me lo harás entender, pero tal vez me ayudas, Julio, tal vez lo digo mejor en español. Sí, es mi lengua materna. No, pero lo que queremos hacer y la idea mía es de seguir transmitiendo los juegos, tratar de seguir haciendo en vivos, tratar de empezar como que la gente conozca del juego, pero no reclutar, porque hay gente que no le interesa jugar el juego, pero sí le interesaría tal vez entretenerse con él o saber más de él. Entonces, por eso es de que en el canal he tratado la manera de hacer, no sé, crear historia, o sea, crear la historia que ya está escrita y trasladarla tal vez trasladarla en español y en inglés, para que la gente a través de la historia quiera en algún momento venir y ver al jugador, o sea, ver al jugador como un avatar que va a apoyar y que en ciertos momentos su jugador va a jugar y que lo trate de soportar, que trate la manera de ver sus juegos, de apoyarlo y hacer esto algo interactivo, donde podamos ser entretenimiento para la gente, un juego que pueda entretener a la gente, y poco a poco pues vamos tratando la manera de hacer de que estos en vivos sean más interactivos, tengan un poquito más de historia, sean llamativos para la gente y se puedan unir a platicar con nosotros. No sé si me ayudas ahí, Julio, con todo lo que dije, no sé qué tanto la captaste.
See, what we're going to try next year is going to be more interactive with the base fan that we are trying to create right now by making more a human play style, because we're going to try to make fans not only for the clans but also the players, because for example we're going to have Javier playing Phoenix and we are going to try that his play style is going to be affected by the viewers and saying, okay, I would like that you try maybe using dragons in your Phoenix deck, and with that see what also can be achieved with those suggestions. And also we want to entertain the persons that are going to watch these games, not only but in the matches, but also we're going to try to give them some lore stories and what ifs maybe also. And regarding about what you said before, Pete, of how we play, I think is more related also to the scarcity of the cards, because as Salguero says, it's a dead game, so obtaining some of those cards is going to be very difficult, and that scarcity is going to prove that we have to be ingenious in how we play. We have some library that every player has access to it and draw some cards from there, and they go to build their decks. And I think that scarcity is the main source of our creativity in how we try to maximize what we have. And also another aspect is that when this game was in the strongest and in Guatemala, maybe in 2007, 2007, and before that, those years, you don't, at least in Guatemala, you don't obtain a vast amount of cards, because you only have like the booster card box, and that was it. And so you have to make your strategy with scarcity cards, and that really, I think, that shaped the way we play here in Guatemala. Now we have access to play CCG or Imperial Block or something that if we want a card, we can go and buy it. But I think that scarcity of availability of cards remain here in Guatemala in our play style, and that is reflected in what you said, that we sometimes use cards that, okay, I'm going to try to use this and hope for the best, and sometimes it occurs great things. For example, there is a card that is called Imbuichi. I use it a lot because it allows me to bring the big Onis for free, and that for me was like, thank God for that card.
Yeah, just continue doing what you're doing. It's doing well, and the internet is such a good thing, because before, when L5R was at its tail end, I think around 2015, 2016, you really didn't see that many videos about L5R, and I think that contributed as to why L5R wasn't as popular as Magic. So as long as you keep doing videos, people will discover the game. People will see that, oh, it's actually a very good game. Yeah. So hopefully, just continue what you're doing. You're really doing well, and good luck in all of your endeavors.
Thanks a lot.
No, y bueno, la intención es pues seguir creciendo, ¿no? Pero sí, ahora ya hacemos en vivos. Este es vamos a hacer el segundo en vivo del torneo Samurai. O sea, hicimos el primer en vivo, lo hicimos en Lotus. Creo que no nos fue muy bien porque dejamos, o sea, no tuvimos como que, no lo pudimos armar lo mejor posible. Pero ahorita en Samurai, pues vamos a tratar la manera de hacerlo lo mejor posible en una muy buena localidad de Sebastián, por cierto. Saludos a Sebas. Saludos también a Dog Lover, que nos vamos a echar un partidito después del live. Y la verdad que la intención es como que empezar a mostrar el juego. Ahorita somos muy pequeños, pero considero que en un año, o como dices tú, que en el 2025, pues L5R pues va a subir como la espuma, o va a tener mayor actividad, pues esto nos va a ayudar a nosotros a mostrar parte del juego. Y la idea de hacer las historias, que es lo que ahorita pues estamos tratando de sacar, y que cuesta un poco por temas no solo de trabajo, sino también por el tema de que para hacer ese tipo de efectos que tú ves en la pantalla, pues la verdad que le estamos imprimiendo bastante amor, porque se mira interesante que escuches una historia donde una fotografía, porque eso viene de una fotografía. O sea, esta es una foto de L5R que está descompuesta en varias partes, y lo que estamos tratando de hacer es mostrando una historia con eso. Entonces, a la larga, pues eso es lo que queremos, y es a donde apuntamos y a donde vamos a ir.
Ok.
Yo creo que se nos fue sí. Pito, sí, pero le damos saludos a todos ahí, a los que estuvieron en el live. Gracias, Julito, la verdad que no sé cómo la pasaste, pero la pasé re bien. Vamos a mejorar esto.
Sí. Así que no digan nada malo, ¿eh?
No, hay que ver, ya tenemos la página, por si se quieren meter a la página. Tenemos también, no solo la página, sino también tenemos pues los canales, el canal de Julio. Pueden ver en el canal de Julio, van a ver los partidos completos. En mi canal solo van a ver un resumen animado de lo que sucedió, y lo que vamos a tratar de hacer, Julio, si tú estás de acuerdo, vamos a empezar a hacer en vivos, no sé, cada viernes, o nos vamos a poner de acuerdo ahí qué día hacemos en vivos, para mostrar el juego a la gente, para empezarlo pues que nos conozcan. Pero también quiero hacer los videos para que conozcan a cada uno de los jugadores, como el video que se le hizo a René, el video que se le hizo, pues, que en paz descanse, a nuestro gran amado Panchito. Entonces, al final, pues, lo que queremos es mostrar lo lindo de este juego. Y lo más curioso es que este juego, apegado a la realidad, está bien centrado, porque no podés jugar sin una economía, no podés, y te ayuda a entender cómo funcionan las grandes potencias del mundo, porque no podés establecer un ejército sin economía, no podés tener poder sin tener varias estrategias que te hagan que tengas poder, no podés tener superioridad si no contás con las mejores estrategias al momento de entrar a una batalla. Entonces creo que el juego tiene mucha enseñanza, especialmente para la gente que es muy hiperactiva y que anda ahí loqueando. Entonces creo que este juego es fenomenal, pero no sé qué pensás, Julio, a ver qué pensás, danos tus conclusiones.
Mira, yo creo que el juego es así tan amplio de que no te, por ejemplo, no te va a permitir ganar solo de una forma. O sea, y como vos lo decías, en la vida hay varias formas de obtener las cosas, ¿verdad? Entonces, incluso ahí se está mostrando de que puedes ganar políticamente, puedes ganar por iluminación, puedes ganar por deshonor. Entonces, lo que se adecue más al estilo que estás buscando y a lo que querés disfrutar, pues, o sea, porque de eso se trata al final, de disfrutar esto y de sacar el mejor provecho, pues porque estás con tus amigos, estás dándole vueltas al hámster también, es una forma también de ejercicio mental, ¿va? Porque si uno se pone a pensar ya fríamente que esto es un juego de cartas y que tiene azar también, pero aparte de las probabilidades que uno puede empezar a considerar así como que, ok, esta carta es una entre 40, que no sé qué, y está añadido otras cuestiones, también entra el azar. Entonces, mezclar esas dos cosas, lo numérico con el azar, es algo bien interesante, pues, y con otros juegos que al menos he podido experimentar, este es más complejo y por lo mismo requiere un mayor nivel de atención y por lo mismo también es un mayor nivel de satisfacción al hacerlo, pues, a nosotros jugarlo, ¿no? Sí.
Sí, la verdad que sí, y la verdad que, bueno, la verdad que es una noche interesante porque al final pues estamos haciendo una antesala a lo que es el torneo de Samurai de mañana. O sea, mañana va a ser un torneo muy difícil para todos porque hay unos decks muy fuertes. O sea, Crane viene con todo. Mantis, son 4 Mantis que vienen también empujando y que puede ser... sí, o sea, la verdad que sí. O sea, la diferencia va a estar en aquellos decks que rompan la hegemonía de lo que ya se viene haciendo o que rompan el ambiente, porque eso es lo que creo que es lo que está pasando. Pero no sé qué
Sí.
pensés.
Sí, mira, yo siento que lo interesante va a ser también ver las variantes de los decks, porque es bien interesante en el sentido de que podemos utilizar el mismo clan, vos y yo, pero realmente el estilo de juego que vamos a tener va a ser totalmente distinto y también la selección de cartas. Entonces ahí la posibilidad de ver qué va a haber mañana a verse a jugar o tratar de adivinar cuál va a ser el resultado es bien difícil porque no solamente hay buenos decks, hay buenos jugadores, sino que también ahorita el entorno está permitiendo, por ejemplo, que haya una superioridad de cangrejos, de mantis y de crane, y puede ser de que ahí se dijera, sí, está seguro que el ganador va a ser de entre esos 3 clanes, pero puede que un deck que sea disruptivo, que nadie se lo espere, es de la sorpresa, porque es, por ejemplo, es como en una analogía con el boxeo. Nadie se espera el boxeador que es zurdo, tiene una ventaja sobre los otros que son derechos, porque no se esperan ese tipo de movimiento, igual pasa en el tenis, ¿va? Entonces, es una cuestión que se podría también aplicar ahí en la vida real con las cartas, y también vos que conoces de fútbol, también la conformación de un deck, también uno podría decir, sí, podría ser como la conformación de una plantilla de fútbol, así como que qué jugadores elijo, qué formación, qué vamos a hacer en la táctica a partir del minuto 50, o sea, hay un montón de cosas que no sé qué, así como que, sí, esta cosa es especial, es especial.
No, la verdad que sí. Ahorita estoy ahí también aprovechando, chateando con Doug Glover. Un saludo. ¿Sabías que Doug Glover es de Chile? Y ahorita estamos programando jugar.
¿No?
De hecho, Doug Glover, te queremos contar. Ahorita no está Pete, pero el próximo año queremos, o sea, Filipinas y Guatemala quiere impulsar con Sun and Moon. De hecho, ya hay torneos de Sun and Moon. Quiero contarte de que la idea de hacer un torneo mundial de Son on the Moon de L5R está en puerta para el próximo año. Ahorita desde Guatemala estamos haciendo todo el proceso para poder llevar el control, no solo el control, sino poder hacerlos en vivo de los torneos, para poder transmitirlos. O sea, es decir, tú desde Chile vas a jugar contra alguien de Europa y ese juego lo vamos a transmitir, van a estar los jueces ahí con ustedes, vamos a estar nosotros narrando el juego, con Julio, por supuesto, Julio, que lo va a narrar en inglés, yo en español, porque para el inglés sí, ya vi que estoy hecho una vaca. Entonces, Doc Glover, para que te des una idea, vas a poder jugar con nosotros también. De hecho, aquí ya vemos muchos como Javier, que quedó en sexto lugar. Es impresionante, Julio. ¿Sabías que Javier quedó en el sexto lugar del torneo de Ivory que acaba de pasar ahorita?
No
o sea,
me
hizo
había
un muy buen
fijado.
papel. Hizo un muy buen papel.
Sí, aquel juega muy bien, entonces es algo que podría esperarse. Y creo que comentó que fue justamente algo que te decía un juego, un pequeño error, aunque sea en algo tan mínimo como decir, se me olvidó girar esto, se me olvidó enderezar lo otro, entonces eso te puede costar un juego. Y aquel nos comentó eso y sí hizo un buen papel, entonces esperemos que en el futuro le vaya aún mejor. Y seguramente va a ser así.
No, va a ser así. De hecho, ahorita pues estoy ahí platicando con Doug Glover, pero sí me quiero meter a este torneo de Oni, porque al final pues lo que quiero ver es aprender a jugar. Recuérdate que son nuevas,
Sí,
ideologías de juego, porque es
sí,
lo que realmente vas a ver.
es que sí, justamente eso es lo que comentó ahorita Peter, de que nosotros la ventaja es de como estamos dividiéndolo por arcos, prácticamente estamos obligados a utilizar cartas que son restrictivas de ese arco, pero por ejemplo, si usáramos el formato que están usando ahorita, creo que el torneo Onyx o el Imperial que pasó, ellos usan Legacy o no me recuerdo cuál otro formato es, pero utilizan el pool de cartas de todas las ediciones, entonces ahí, en cierta forma, es cierto, tenés un abanico impresionante de cartas y estrategias que utilizar, pero todos sabemos qué cartas son las más poderosas de cada clan o de cada facción, entonces en ese aspecto ahí sí vas a encontrar muchas cosas repetidas o decks que son así como combo breakers, ¿va? Entonces en ese sentido tal vez es un poco mejor, siento yo, la forma que lo estamos abordando nosotros. Pero bueno, ahí dice Doc Glover que
Sí,
Legacy es
la
mejor.
verdad que
Estoy hablando desde la ignorancia, pues, porque realmente no conozco suficiente como para poder determinar y decir, sí, ¿va? Lo que sí sé es de que ahorita lo que estamos haciendo nos está encantando a todos, a mí también personalmente, y vamos a ver en el futuro también si nos podemos incorporar a eso, que es lo que están jugando todos, pues el Legacy, ¿va?
no, si ahorita, pues la idea de tirar un torneo mundial es solo el preámbulo, porque lo que habíamos hablado con Pete es en algún futuro hacer una liga en el 2024, finales del 2024, para el 2025 hacer una liga mundial. ¿Qué significa eso? Que vamos a jugar como que si fuera una Champions League o algo así. O sea, bajándolo al raciocinio del fútbol. Entonces la idea es que desde Guatemala, Filipinas y Polonia, que es donde está Kempi, que es la persona que estamos tratando de involucrar, pero no se deja, bueno, de hecho Kempi está muy involucrado ahorita con los torneos, o sea, Kempi es uno de los organizadores de los torneos que se están haciendo actualmente ahorita. Entonces la idea es hacer como una liga de torneos, pero que sean por arcos. Arco, que ese arco va a durar, ponete, los juegos van a ser durante 2 meses, es decir, que vos vas a jugar 10 juegos, pero los 10 juegos los vas a tener programados porque toda la gente, obviamente, recuérdate que muchos trabajamos, otros son de otros países, Polonia, Inglaterra, estamos hablando de Estados Unidos, no todos tienen la zona de horaria que compacta, Filipinas, entonces sí los juegos tienen que ser programados, pero estamos tratando de involucrar a mucha gente que es la que nos va a ayudar y apoyar a que ese calendario se cumpla, se haga, que estén presentes, pero que los podamos transmitir. Y la idea es transmitir en español por medio de nuestros canales, el tuyo y el mío, y transmitir en inglés por medio de los canales de Filipinas y de Polonia. Entonces, esa es la intención. Entonces, al final, pues, es un proyecto muy gigante, pero eso va para el próximo año. Pero el primer paso ya lo dimos, que es hacer el en vivo del torneo de Lotus. Nos quitamos el miedo ahí, ahorita nos estamos quitando el miedo ahorita en este live. Y la idea es empezar con el proceso de mostrar el entretenimiento de nuestro juego. Que eso es lo más difícil, Julio. O sea, que la gente le guste ver un juego que no entiende. Pero para entenderlo, por eso vamos a tirar las historias. Y de hecho, pues eso es lo que estoy trabajando ahorita bastante. las historias para que la gente empiece a conectarse con el juego y entender por qué pasa esto. Y no buscamos reclutar, pero sí buscamos entretener, que eso es lo que a la larga pues se quiere hacer aquí en Guatemala.
Sí, está perfecto. Totalmente el apoyo ahí. Vamos a darle con todo. Y todos.
Bueno, entonces, sí, porque los juegos de ahorita que jugó Javier, solo los podías ver si te conectabas en ese preciso momento. Y la idea sería de transmitirlo en vivo, pero que también quedara para que cualquiera lo pudiera ver después. Eso es lo que creo que no se hizo o no se está haciendo. Entonces,
y es una cosa que también molesta un poco a veces, es de que uno dice, a la gran qué juegazo el que hubo ahí, porque hubo así como que de todo, y no se graba, ¿vos? Entonces es así como que, la lástima, y a veces se graban juegos que no son tan emocionantes, ¿vamos?
no, y por eso la idea es narrarlo, pero el problema es de que yo puedo hacer la narración en español, pero no en inglés, por eso necesito a alguien que narre en inglés. En este caso, pues, sería tu persona, como dos corresponsales. Esto es como que fuera ESPN, pero el ESPN de cartas.
El 8. No, hombre, sí, ahí tenemos que mejorar todos, porque también mi inglés no es tan bueno, pero ahí en la práctica vamos mejorando, vamos, poco a poco.
Sí, no se hacen los en vivos de las semifinales y todo eso y le damos, pero lo ideal es que recordate que como uno juega también, yo juego también, entonces el estrés de estar haciendo A, B, C, D te
Sí.
punte o funde. Pero vamos a tratar de ir mejorando ahí, que nos ayuden los chicos de Estados Unidos a narrar los juegos y en español, pues aquí nos la debatimos nosotros.
Tío.
Bueno, pues mi querido Julio, la verdad que es un gustazo. Gracias por estar aquí conmigo y espero en el próximo live de la otra semana. Vamos a hacer algo. El live de la otra semana vamos a analizar al campeón. Vamos a hablar de su estrategia de juego. Vamos a tratar la manera vamos a platicar, si quieres, cuando estemos allá, vamos a platicar del deck, obviamente los decks que pasen, cuál es su estrategia y todo eso. Vamos a tratar de hacer un en vivo muy bonito para las personas que lo quieran ver. Y vamos a tratar la manera de pues analizar en el en vivo, como hacer una especie de, no sé, de análisis del juego, cómo fue que jugaron, cómo fue que utilizó su estrategia, por qué estas cartas, por qué vienen, por la estrategia, por qué la hace, tal vez incluso el guerrero que en ese momento hizo la diferencia en el juego y todo ese tipo de cosas para que lo analicemos, si te parece, algunas estadísticas y también vamos a mostrar cómo va el calendario, porque en este momento tanto Crane como Mantis son los que llevan la delantera. O sea, no sé si sabías, pero Crane, Mantis llevan la delantera. En tercer lugar va Sebastián con Crane, o sea, son un Mantis en primer lugar, dos Crane compartiendo el primero, o sea, vamos a ver, Intruder, Mantis con 11 puntos, Salvador, Crane con 11 puntos compartiendo el primer lugar, Sebastián en el segundo lugar con 9 puntos, también Crane. Bueno, mi persona que voy en el tercer lugar compartiendo con Javier con 7 puntos, luego viene Renato, Bombillo, que vienen allá atrásito, que son Mantis y Dragón, y bueno, Dragón no, yo creo que es Crab, Bombillo es Crab. Viene también René, que si en o sea, si ahorita en Samurai, personas, o sea, guerreros como René, Rodrigo y Ronald, incluso tu persona, Julio, si suman ahorita 4 puntos, casi ustedes están punteando ya para los primeros lugares. O sea, Celeste y el Emperador van a marcar una diferencia, pero creo que ahorita en Samurai, el que sume puntos ahorita es el que va a poder alcanzar.
Sí. Bueno, a ver qué se pasa la mañana, entonces hay que llegar frescos, vos hay que irse a acostar y también gracias a vos por esto, porque realmente, para que no sepa y que esté todavía viendo el en vivo, vos fuiste el que empezó a juntar a todos, entonces vos fuiste el eje sobre el que giró todo y ahorita pues estamos así, ¿va? Así que, bravo. Creo que te pusiste en mute, no te escucho.
Yo creo que el 2023 solo es pruebas, o sea, hoy solo estos torneos son para ir agarrando la forma de poder hacer el juego y poderlo transmitir mejor y tal vez hacer mejores cosas para que la gente se interactúe con el juego, ¿correcto?
Fíjate que sí,
Y
hay buenas
ya el
ideas.
2024 pues sí vamos con todo.
Sí, a mí me encantó esta cosa que vos hiciste así de los jugadores y creo que dar eso que vos decías así como que cada quien apueste por su jugador o su equipo, vamos. Podemos ya después hasta conformar estrategias más así, más complejas de juego, vamos. O sea, hay varias ideas ahí que a ver cómo las podemos implementar y poco a poco las vamos a ir metiendo, ¿va?
Sí, así es. Pues bueno, mi Julito, a descansar. Mañana va a ser otro día y mañana nos vemos en pleno torneo. Te veo allá y vamos a prepararnos y si quieres pues en inglés me echar la mano, yo le doy con todo en español porque para el español me pinto y pues tratemos la manera de hacer un bonito en vivo y disfrutarlo el día de mañana. Mañana va a estar súper interesante.
Está bueno, está bueno. Ahí miramos también quién más nos puede echar la mano y ahí nos damos penca con todo.
Un gustazo, Julito, y hasta mañana.
Vale,
Nos
hasta
vemos
ahí.
y a todo el mundo.
Salud.
Nos vemos. Todo aquel
Chao.
que mire este live, nos vemos. Chao.
Vos ahí lo subís a YouTube, no se te olvide. Órale.
Sí, claro, queda de una vez en YouTube, queda
Súper,
guardado.
súper nítido.
Un gusto
Órale.
saludarte, pues, Julito. Gracias. Chao.